Greetings Internet, it's Dustin again with my HomeKit Home, back again with another one for you. In this go round, we are looking at the L3 SmartGlow Light Bulb by VOCOlinc. If you remember a few months back, we did a review of the L1 Smart LED Wi-Fi bulb, and the L3 is its bigger brother. So what we'll do in this video, we'll unbox the L3 bulb, we'll look at some of the features that it has in the Linkwise app, we'll see how it compares to the L1 bulb, and then we'll look at how it compares with the Phillips Hue as well. I do want to thank the folks over at VOCOlinc for providing us this review unit, but you can be assured that my thoughts have not been influenced in any sort of way. Well, we've got quite a bit to talk about today, so let's get into the video. Alright, well let's crack this big bad boy open. So this is the L3 SmartGlow Light Bulb. As you can see here, it does work with HomeKit, Google Assistant, and Amazon Alexa, but we know which of those is the most important. We've got some other brief information about the bulb. It is coming in at 850 lumens, which is about 300 lumens more than its predecessor, which I'm pretty interested in checking out how that looks. It does have the standard 16 million colors, and its color temperature range is from 2200 all the way up to 7500 Kelvin, which is a pretty good range. Here we have our general kind of customer care information, our HomeKit code and those things. Had a bit of a looks like the LifeX setup here, kind of, except it's cardboard instead of foam, but I think that works just fine. Bulb is a little bit heftier than its predecessor, but I don't see anything wrong with that. We have our HomeKit code on the side there, so let's go ahead and set it up. So here is the Linkwise app in the App Store. It doesn't have the best rating, but I think it's quite a fine app, especially for its own products that do have some added features most of the time. When jumping into the app, we'll need to tap the Add Device button, which is easily found right there on the screen. And we'll go into the Lighting tab, find the SmartGlow bulb, the L3. Once we're sure that everything is ready to go, we'll tap the little circle, and then we'll tap the Go button. So here is our HomeKit setup. We've all seen this before. We'll scan our QR code here, and almost instantly, if I can actually get the camera to focus there, I need some more light in this room. And almost instantly, we have our bulb added to HomeKit, and we can see that we can identify it, which essentially just blinks the bulb so you know which one it is if you have multiple bulbs that you're setting up at the same time. We can also change the icon here. We only have the 4 different icons there for now, but those can help you to identify which bulb it is. Of course, we can change the name of the bulb, we can change which room it's in, as well as create a new room if that's something that we're into. We can choose if we want the bulb to be included in our favorites or not, and that's essentially what we can do here. So let's go ahead and look at what we can do with it. Oh, it looks like there's a firmware update. Imagine that. So let's go ahead and update the firmware. Now I did go ahead and speed this along for the sake of the video, but essentially it took about a minute and a half, I would say, so not too long at all. And it's always a good idea to make sure that you're getting the latest and greatest features for the bulb itself and for the app. It does usually create a better user experience there. So without much time lost at all, we'll go ahead and tap OK. So let's look at what we can do here. Of course, we can change the colors, and we do have our color wheel here, which is pretty standard. And so just sliding around, we can see the different shades pop up there on the bottom left. We can also adjust the brightness with the slider at the bottom from left to right, which is a pretty useful little tool there. We can also turn the bulb on and off on the right hand side there. And we can see our firmware version. We can see that there are no updates available. So let's go ahead and go over to our next tab. Of course, we have our color temperature as well as our colors, but here's the interesting thing, and that's the effects. So let's go ahead and go through these effects and we'll see what they look like. So we'll start off in the middle there with flow, and as you can see here, we get a gentle color shift between 6 different colors that we can choose from there. That's a pretty nice one. Let's look at our next one, which is our let's go ahead and look at the breathe option. So this one kind of pulses in and out, kind of slowly fading in and out. Of course, we can also update and change and modify the intervals at which these colors change as well. So here's our candle effect. Now this one only has the 1 color option, and as you can see, it kind of gives us a kind of intermittent, kind of randomized breathing effect there. Here we have the blink effect, which obviously would work great in a club situation, if that's what you've got going on in your HomeKit home. And we also have the flicker here, which is kind of similar to the candle, except that it's kind of more, I would say, less randomized. I'm a huge fan of this next feature, and this allows us to essentially choose 3 different times throughout the day. So the day, kind of the evening, and then a sleep time. What it really allows us to do is to gradually change the color temperature of the bulb throughout the day to sort of mimic what the sun's doing. So during the day you might have a cooler temperature that kind of mimics what the sun is doing and kind of energizes you, whereas at night you might want a warmer color temperature, which will help you go to sleep and kind of really to kind of keep your circadian rhythms in check. I think this is a fantastic feature, and I would actually like to see this come to Apple's Home app so that we could integrate not just one manufacturer's bulbs into it. I'd like to be able to do this across all HomeKit enabled light accessories. Well, I think we've reached that point in the video that you've all been waiting for, so let's go ahead and compare the VOCOlinc L1 to the L3 as well as the Phillips Hue. You'll see the L1 on the left, the L3 in the middle, and the Hue on the right. Now I put all of these into a group so that we could see how they all reacted, so everything was working at the same time. We'll start off by looking at some of the dimming functionality here. You can see some differences there. So why don't we look at some colors? So here's a nice blue. You can see that the saturation's pretty standard across the board there, I would say. The red, I do have to give this one to Hue. It just beat out the VOCOlinc bulbs a bit. The green seems to be pretty standard across the board. The yellow, this is a bright pink. I did enjoy the L3 better for a lot of these colors. I thought it was much more saturated, in fact, than either the L1 or the Hue bulb. If anything, we saw lots of similarities between the L3 and the Hue. I didn't really notice that the Hue won out, except, as I mentioned, in the red. So I'm going to give this one to the L3 based on, everything that it can do. The VOCOlinc L3 just wins. So undoubtedly, the price of LED bulbs is coming down pretty quickly. And we're starting to see that not only with regular LED bulbs, but color LED bulbs, and even smart color LED bulbs like we're seeing with the L3 here. Obviously, this thing can definitely compete with the Phillips Hue bulb that I actually have sitting back there. To be completely honest, almost all of the lighting in my house is Phillips Hue. I rent, and so that's just an easier way that I can deal with smart lighting as a renter. However, I'm starting to think about accent lighting, and I don't know that I need Phillips Hue cost for accent lighting. I can pick up one of these bulbs for, I think it was about $25, and I'm able to do everything I can. The saturation is just about the same, and the color range is the same. You get all of those same sort of characteristics with a much lower price, and it's an accent bulb. I don't know many people who are using a color bulb as their primary light source. If they are, more power to them, but I think most people are using color bulbs as an accent piece. In terms of reliability, Yes, the L3 is a Wi-Fi bulb, and there are some inherent issues with anything that works over Wi-Fi. Although I never really had any problems with disconnections, and you know, as long as you have a good router, you're going to be fine. Now, it is definitely not as quick as something like Zigbee, but I don't know that you need it to be really all that quick. Again, it's accent lighting, so you know, I think Wi-Fi is just fine. So if you're comparing the L1 and the L3 and you're trying to decide which one to get, I'm gonna go ahead and say go for the L3. You're going to have this thing for 25,000 hours, right? So spend a little bit more money and pick up one that's, yeah, sure, it's a little bit more expensive, but you're getting a higher quality product at the end of the day, and you'll have it for many, many years. So how do you incorporate color lighting into your HomeKit setup? How do you decorate with light? Let us know in the comments down below. Also, if you have any questions about the L3 SmartGlow Light Bulb, leave them in the comments down below and I'll do my best to answer them. Also, below the video in the description box, you'll find a link to pick up the L3 SmartGlow Light Bulb if you are so inclined. You'll also find links to our social media accounts over at My HomeKit Home, as well as the blog over at myhomekithome.com. As always, if you found the video useful, please consider giving us a big thumbs up. And if you are interested in more HomeKit related content, don't forget to subscribe if you haven't done so already, and maybe consider hitting that bell notification so you don't miss out on any of our new content as soon as it's released. Well, I think that's a wrap on another one for you. I do thank you for watching, and until the next one, this has been Dustin with My HomeKit Home.